you doing? Hope you're all okay. So my next guest I actually met when I was working with my children's theatre company. So Jen's Juniors were really lucky to perform a night at the West End in Wales in the Follies Theatre in Folly Farm back in March, with lots of amazing West End performers and singers, and it was fantastic, organised by Drew Baker in aid of the charity Paul Sartori. It was fantastic, and we met our next guest there. Please give a warm welcome to the lovely Jamie Birkett.
So my first question for you is, when were you introduced to theatre?
Well, I think when I was about 4, there was a production. I don't know what the name of it was, and I was at school, and it was something to do with all I remember is rice birds and paddy fields, because there was a song about rice birds and paddy fields, and I was a rice bird, and I really remember it because I remember that one of the girls' moms, she made all the rice birds costumes, and I was a rice bird, and I had a solo line. I think there was 2 solo lines, and I was one of them. And I can sort of still remember how it goes. Literally, I was just 4 as well. And
wow, that's impressive.
I know, but it obviously you remember the things that impact you, and that obviously had a huge impact on me. And then and my teacher went to my mum and said, "Oh, I think maybe you should get Jamie singing lessons." And my mum was like, "Okay." I mean, she's really young, but okay. But then from about 9, my mum got me singing lessons. So then it was in school, everybody, doing Oliver and Annie and all the things that everyone does as a kid. And then I joined Amdram, and that's where the real love started, I think. I joined Amdram when I was 9. I think the first one I did was My Fair Lady. And that was it. Then I joined every Amdram in my area. So I was brought up in Cumbria, and I was in Maryport, Workington, all of them. I was in, and I loved them. Loved it. That was my life.
Every day of the week you had something new to go to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, if you've ever done Amdram, or if anyone's ever done Amdram, it does consume you. So I would only do one show, I think, at a time, but I was with different companies, so that it meant that, once Workington did its big one for the year, I wasn't then done for 6 months. I would then go to Whitehaven and do theirs, and so I always had at least one on the go.
Amazing. And describe your journey then to becoming a performer. So you've got the Amdrams and stuff, but where did you go from there? Did you train?
Yeah, so what happened was I did Amdram all from I was about 9 till I was about 17, 18. And when I was at school, I always sort of knew I always used to say that's what I'm going to go into, and that's all I really wanted to do. And my mum let me audition for a couple of things, so there was no Britain's Got Talent or anything really like that when I was growing up. So I auditioned for Michael Barrymore's My Kind of People, yeah. And I did that. So I was on that when I was 12.
Oh my God.
And I know, so random, and just as much as I could do. And then when I was 18, I decided I wanted to go to university, because for some reason I wanted to move to Newcastle, where all my family are from. And there isn't really, and they actually do have a college now, Newcastle College, which I think is amazing. But at the time, if they had it then, I didn't know about it. So I just wanted to go to Newcastle. So I auditioned for the Performing Arts course at Northumbria, got in, and did 3 years there, which I loved. It's not as obviously as intense as drama school in any way. And for a lot of people on the course, it's a bit of a, free degree. But I never saw it that way. I took it really seriously, and I loved it, and we got to do some amazing shows, actually work with amazing people. And then off the back of that, somebody they were doing Oliver at the Theatre Royal in Newcastle, which is my favourite theatre in the world, and it's an Amdram company there, but they're really amazing. I've seen loads of their productions since, and they're they could be professional. There's loads of people that have gone on to become professional performers, from the area, started there. And they were doing Oliver, and I was put forward to audition for it. So I went in, and just, you have to audition to get in, which I did. And then they were doing audition for the parts. But I was like, I'll just go for ensemble. Nobody knows me, I won't get anything. Because, a lot of things with Amdram, it's a hierarchy as well.
Yeah.
people always get the roles. And so I was very much, there was a girl there that always got the roles, and she made that quite clear, and she was lovely actually, but it was obvious she was the leading girl. So I went in and I auditioned, because everyone had to sing Nancy's song. That was what you had to sing. You had to sing As Long As He Needs Me, regardless of what you were auditioning for.
Yeah.
So I sang that and got a call within the day saying like, hiya, yeah, we'd love you to do Oliver, which I was like absolutely thrilled at. And we'd like to play Nancy. And I remember I was in my mum's living room and I was like, what? Because I never in a million years thought, because I just started with this company.
Yeah.
Did that and it was amazing. And then off the back of that, the TV show, The Search for Nancy, was just after I finished playing Nancy. Like literally, I think it was like a week after I finished it. It was advertised on the TV. So it was all so like serendipitous. And loads of people were like, you need to apply. So I applied and like did that. And then off the back of that, all the people that mentor you, the like amazing people we worked with, said, if you want to make it like in the West End, you need to go to drama school. So I thought, okay, where do I want to go? And at the time I loved We Will Rock You. Like I was obsessed with We Will Rock You. And the lead in We Will Rock You went to Mount View. Hannah Jane Fox, she was called. And so I was like, right, well, I'll go to Mount View then. So I auditioned for Mount View. It's the only one I auditioned for, because Hannah Jane Fox went to Mount View. So I didn't even apply for anywhere else. So thank God I got in. And I got in and that was it. And then went to drama school.
Rest is history.
It's history, yeah. All because of that one girl.
But that's what happened. I mean, like, I was exactly the same. I'm from a really small place in West Wales, and yeah, people just, you just get influenced by what you see, and oh, okay, that's where they went, and that's where I'll go, and that's what I'll do, and you just don't think about it. Then it's like, there we are.
Yeah, because I'm from a small town in Cumbria, and there's not that much. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, that I didn't know that much when I got to drama school, and when I got there, it was a huge learning curve, because like everyone knew all these obscure musicals, and I was like, well, I know like Oliver and Grace, because you know what I mean. Like I didn't know Sondheim was. I didn't know any of that, and then I learned it all and thought, oh wow, there's like a world out there to learn.
Yeah, well, the thing is, because you just do the set musicals, unless you know where to look for the rest of them, you just know those, don't you?
Yeah. And back then when I was growing up, there was no like YouTube, there was no Spotify. Like it's so much easier now, so there's almost no excuse now not to have more knowledge. Yeah. But yeah, when I was growing up, it was an Elaine Page CD, literally.
And within musical theatre, so you've obviously got the 3 disciplines. What would you say comes most naturally to you, and what would you say you have to work the hardest at?
I don't. You know what? I don't know. I think if you'd have asked me when I was younger, I would have said singing comes the most naturally to me. But now I think acting comes the most naturally to me. And it's really difficult to say that, because it sounds like you're being, sort of like loving yourself a little bit. But I think I try and come at everything now from the acting point of view before I try and then add the singing on top, because I think that's the most important way to come at it. Because if you can understand why the character's singing and why they're doing this, or how they feel, then the singing will be easier. And actually, I think genuinely the notes get easier. Yeah. So, for example, with Les Mis, it's all recitative, which sounds easier than it actually is, which is maybe backwards to how people think. But when I auditioned for it, I had to. One of my rounds was a recitative class, not class. That's unfair, but the MD sat me down and said, okay, let's go through this. And recitative, if anyone's watching, is it's sort of like spoken on pitch. So like, for example, now look who's here, the little madam herself, pretending once again she's been so awfully good. And you have to do it all and learn it all like exactly note perfect. And then you have to make it sound like you're not singing it. And when I auditioned for it, I was like, yeah, no, I've got that, really, it's fine. And then when the MD picks it out and he's like, no, that you, and you're like, oh my God, that's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do. But if you come at it from the acting perspective, it gets easier, because you can sort of then place it whilst not trying to sing.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I think that's what I definitely do. And I'm not a dancer. Like I can dance a little bit, but I'm not a dancer. I would never, and certainly now that I'm older, I don't really get put up for those things. My agent is very good and listens to me now. Whereas when I was younger, when I was straight out of drama school, it's a free for all. You don't get much of a say. It's literally, you're in for this dance call and you're going. And you think, okay, I can't tell you the amount of dance calls I've been to where I've made an absolute fool of myself. Like not even a little bit, like absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
going from what you said about being confident with the acting more than the singing, I think it is confidence.
yeah.
If you have that confidence to do something, the notes do just appear, for me anyway.
Oh,
if
yeah.
I'm confident in how I'm playing it and the role or the meaning behind a song, anything like that, I sing it much better than if I just go, okay, I'm just singing a song.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like if you sing it at home, it always sounds better. Like I have one role that I go in for a lot, which I won't say what it is, but you'll probably be able to guess what it is. But I go in for it every year I go in for it. And when I sing it through my singing teacher, he always says like, you can sing it, and I can sing it, and I'll record my lesson and think that's so easy. Like I can sing it like without straining, without anything. And then I go into the room in the recall stages, and I don't blow it, but I'm nowhere near as good. And I think, why can't I? And it's because there's too much pressure on it in the room, and you lose a bit of confidence because you think, oh, what if I'm not what they want? What if I, and it just takes that tiny little bit of doubt, and even if it only makes you perform less well by 5%, that 5% can make all the difference in that room. And it's so easy, and everyone has it.
Yeah, and it's just great because you can watch someone perform on stage and you think, oh my god, they've just got bags of talent and but you don't know behind that, the self-doubt and
oh yeah, everyone, absolutely everyone.
Yeah,
definitely. Every single person I've worked with has so much doubt. It's crazy. It's funny.
Yeah, I know. Nobody ever thinks that though.
Absolutely.
And have you had any like wow moments in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I've had loads actually. Like honestly, doing the Nancy show, I got to go to Andrew Lloyd Webber's house and meet him and work with him, and that's a huge wow moment because almost it's as if that never happened. Do you know what I mean? It's almost as if that didn't happen to me, but it did. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't remember me. When I got Les Mis, I spoke to Cameron and said like, oh, do you remember me? I was in the Nancy show, and he was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, no, you don't. You know who I am. So that, I think that was my youngest one. And then when I did Fame, and we went to Monte Carlo, a theatre called the Grimaldi Forum, which is huge, and it's so very grand. And everyone in Monaco still dresses like Britons used to dress back in the like turn of the century in like ball gowns. And that was like, that was almost like disconcerting. Like I remember going out, I played Serena, so I was like the awkward one, but I remember like, oh my god, and everyone's there with their opera glasses and like full ball gowns and like probably like millions of pounds worth of jewels. And actually when we came out of stage door, people used to stand at stage door and like clap, but not ask for autographs or anything. They would just clap. And it was so weird. It was like being back in like old Hollywood in the 30s or something. That was really weird. And obviously Les Mis, like there was not a point of Les Mis where when the prologue starts, if you stand in the wings and listen to that prologue, there's just never a day where that doesn't become like, it really is. Or actually when the first time, end of the day, the sliders come away, and I was really lucky. I was the first person to come on there, so it opens and I would trickle through, so I always got to see everyone first. And it's such a massive thing because in the tour, or now the West End version as well, it says, it's the end of the prologue and it's like and then it goes Les Miserables across the sliders, and then it's like and it opens up. And it's such a cute, and everyone goes wild.
Yes.
To feel so lucky that I was the first person that got to see it, and that's probably the one thing I'll take from that.
Yeah.
That's the one I'll keep the most like exciting. And just some of the theatres we played, you know, like, but actually because we had Cillian Donnelly as Valjean, he's obviously very famous in Dublin. I mean, he's very famous everywhere, but in Dublin he's like a god.
Yeah.
And when we used to play it at the Bord Gosh in Dublin, which is an amazing theatre anyway, it's so huge, and the response he used to get after Bring Him Home, like there used to be like waves, so people would like clap and cheer and whoop, and it would die, and then someone else would take it, and then it would go again, and sometimes we would be stopped for like at least 5 minutes, like full 5 minutes, while people just cheered themselves hoarse for him. That was really magical. That was really special as well.
Yeah. Yes. The show, you know, it's the same story that you're telling every night, but every night it's different.
Yeah, it is. Like, especially with that show, and especially with that show because it's such a huge cast, you rarely have the main cast all the time, if that makes sense. There's always swings on, there's always covers on, so it is always just a little bit different most nights. And you know, if there's a lot of sickness, as with every show, but I've never done a show like Les Mis where things had to change so much, just because there's the ensemble basically never leave the stage. So if you've got 10 people off, then we've all got to fill it in. And those shows actually were amazing. Like I absolutely loved it. Like I got to die on the barricade a few times as Brian, one of the guys. I used to take his death light, and I loved it. Every time I had to do it, when the dance captain would say, Jamie, you're going to be Brian tonight, I'd be like, yes. I used to love it so much, my gun. And I used to like die really dramatically. And then they pull the barricade off, and I used to still be dead in the wing, because I used to be like, this is the best thing ever. Just to myself, no one could see me. So good.
Amazing. And if you were doing a one-woman show vocally, what material would you include? What are your go-to songs that you just love to sing?
I would either do one of two things. I'd either do a Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli tribute, because I think those are my go-to songs actually, for me, not necessarily for like auditions or anything, but that's my favourite like genre. So all of Judy's, like a few of Liza's, that's what I grew up listening to, and that's what I love. So that's probably what I do. But if I didn't do that, I'd do Sondheim, because I love Sondheim as well. So it would be one of those two, but it'd be more likely the Judy Liza thing.
And do you have so aside from musical theatre, do you have another genre of music that you love?
I mean, I like all sorts of music. I'm not great at like modern music, because I feel like I've just passed that. You know, like people say, oh, you know this song, and I'm like, no, not a clue. I really like soul and like funk and that sort of music. Like I used to love, you know, like Tina Turner and Michael Jackson and Otis Redding and things like that when I was growing up. So that would be. But I also really like big band, but that's sort of Judy as well. You know, like Frank Sinatra, swing, that sort of thing. Yeah. Like I mainly like old-fashioned music.
For me, the 90s stuff, like Steps and stuff, is my guilty pleasure. I love all that.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, if that comes on, that's never being turned off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't listen to it.
No, I mean, do you know what? I get to find out the sort of fashionable songs because of like panto, if I do panto. So like last year I did Sleeping Beauty in Llandudno, and I had to do Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, this is a great song, and it is actually a great song. It's a slightly different version that the MD did, which was amazing. But the kids shows, I'd come out trying to sing it in that really low key, so you're trying to like hear it, and obviously you've got 1,000 kids being like and screaming at you, and I'm thinking, oh no, I can't shush because I can't time. like literally trying to like, because I'm just completely out of time. But yeah. So that's how I mainly find out. I wouldn't have known that song in a million years.
And what would you say is the biggest challenge in musical theatre?
I think it depends where you are in your sort of journey. I think if you're new to it, the biggest challenge is getting your foot on the ladder, I think, because, you know, not everyone has gone to the best drama school and come out and got the best agent. And even then, you know, I know people that have gone to the best drama schools and got the best agent on the market. Even then, that doesn't work out for them. You know, if they just don't hit their lucky show, doesn't mean they're not amazingly talented. But, you know, someone who's amazingly talented might just have a really unlucky 6 months where everything that they audition for, they're not right for, which is nothing to do with talent. They're just not right for it. And then, you know, they could then get dropped by their agent. And then that person could take a hit to their confidence and quit. And I've seen that happen a lot, actually, which is a real shame, because I think the hardest thing is the beginning. Some people come straight out of college and get a job straight away. But then what's really hard for those people is getting the second job.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get the second job, the first job was a fluke. And then you might quit because you think, oh, well, it was just a fluke. So I think the challenge actually really in saying that is staying confident and staying optimistic that actually your time will come if you stick at it and you work hard. Because, I mean, I left in September, October, so I'd missed all the Panther auditions. Terrible time to have your schools graduate, but so I didn't work till the February. It was a fringe show. I got hardly any money for it. It was really well reviewed though, so I did well off it because people came and saw it, and I was one of the leads in it. And then from doing that, the casting director was casting Fame. Wow. So 4 months later, she got me in and I got Serena. And actually, I remember speaking to her saying like, oh, because I was up against actually one person I know that had done it in the West End. Right. I thought, well, she's going to get it. She's done it in the West End. And when I got it, I remember sort of saying to Danielle, who cast it, oh, what? And she said, you know what? When the breakdown came up, you were the first person I thought of. You were exactly what I thought of for the part. And that's not because I'm the most talented person she's seen. She's worked with far more talented people than me. But it was just because I was fresh in our minds, and she worked for me, just worked with me, and obviously had liked what I did, and thought, oh, I should get her in, and if everyone else likes her. And that's sort of just how it works. Yeah. It's not ever the best person in the room. Sometimes it's just the stars aligning. So I think the hardest thing is just getting the stars to align. Yeah. Keeping the stars in alignment. And then even then you can do loads of jobs and, you know, still struggle, because it is a struggle. It is a hard business. It's a really hard business. Yeah. And you go through peaks and troughs. It's just, you've just got to stick with it and keep confident in what you do and not let it get you down, I think, whatever stage you're in.
Like, you know, I'm terrible. I preach it to the kids, but you don't think it about yourself. But things, like you say, happen for a reason. And because you're doing this now doesn't mean that you know, 5 years down the line, you might not end up doing something else, you know.
100%. I mean, this whole coronavirus thing has, you know, ruined the industry for want of a better words. And I would say a lot of us have thought, God, what am I going to do? You know, I certainly have. And there's part of me that has thought, whether I'll do this or not, I don't know. But as just a fleeting thought, I thought, well, maybe I should take a few years out, do something else while the industry heals itself and come back. Because I think the beauty of being an actor or being a singer is that actually you are your product. So it doesn't actually matter what age you are or what, you know what I mean? So like, if I decided I don't want to work for 5 years, I'll just come back in 5 years' time. And yeah, it might take me a few more months to get my feet again, but also it might not, because my first audition might be for, I don't know, off the top of my head, Mamma Mia, and it might be for Donna, and I might get it, whereas I wouldn't get it now because I'm not old enough. You know what I mean? So I do think I hate when people say, like, you always hear it, or you certainly did when I was at college, people would say, oh, don't go on a cruise ship because it takes you out of the bubble. Then you're away for 18 months. And I honestly think that's the biggest load of like peddled lies that is actually damaging for young people, because one, there's no bubble. You're not out of it. It's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. And two, if I had my time again, I would be straight on cruise ships at 20, straight, because I'd have money now, probably have a mortgage, and I would have seen the world. Whereas I was told that's where people that can't get West End jobs go. So I would never go. I wouldn't even go to auditions. My agent would say, go to cruise auditions. I'd say no. And actually, one of my best friends does cruises, so I go on them a lot. And the quality of people is actually outrageous. Like, better than the West End, so in some cases. Like, I've seen some performers, like, there's one guy who I'm friendly with now who was on Rob's ship. He's one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life. And I'm just like, you're on a ship and no one knows about you, and actually you could compete with the best of the West End without trying. It's so funny.
Yeah, you're told that all the time, and you're told, oh well, you've missed it now, you're over 25, that's it, that's you done. And like, it makes you like, God, I don't feel very old. Like, how have I missed it? How have I, and yeah, they tell you these things and you're just like, oh my God. And I think that's it then. You go, oh well, I'm done. I didn't even get there.
Yeah, I can see that happening, but it's just so rubbish. It's just honestly the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because like, you could become successful at 40, because you could get notoriety for playing a character that is 40, which you couldn't have played at 20. So, I just think that's so stupid.
And do you have like a most treasured possession? Do you have something that you love, or just is there a thing that you love? Or
do I have I love my dogs. I know that's not a possession, but I do love my dogs. They're actually sleeping right next to me at the moment. I'm trying to think if I've got a thing. Actually, I don't have them on right now because I took them off to wash my hands, but I have rings that I love, and I'm always like, if I have to take them off for a job, I always like keep them really safe because I love them so much. Yeah, all mine are silver. I've literally just took them off to wash my hands. I think those, but no, apart from that, not really.
Yeah.
All mine, no, I'm not that. No, I'd be really upset if I lost my rings, and obviously my dogs I love, but I don't think there's anything else that I couldn't recover from not having.
Yeah. I kind of guess like materialistic things are just as that, aren't they? And they're things that, I don't know what you're like, but I'm more about memories, and I like creating experiences with people, and weirdly I hold on to photos. I love photos because then they remind me of things.
Yeah, the photos I've got are replaceable though. I tell you what I've got so me and my fiance, we did The Play That Goes Wrong together, and as a birthday or Christmas gift, I had him made, it's literally, I'm looking at it now, like a painting, a drawing of us as Sandra and Jonathan together on the set, and I didn't know what it was going to look like because it was the stage door of the Duchess, his partner, he did them, and I just saw a little advert in our stage door, like, cubbyhole, and got in touch with them and said, how much would you charge me? You can do whatever you want, sort of thing. And it was, for what it is, it was so cheap considering. And I didn't see it until he sent me it. And honestly, I was like, this is actually the best thing I've ever seen. So that I love, because it's,
yeah,
I'd probably, if the house was on fire, I'd grab that because you couldn't replace it.
No, yeah, it's really special, and it's a moment that you created together that somebody else has captured.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And he's so lovely, like the way he's drawn us together. And I don't know if you've ever seen the play, but one of the sets is a dog in a painting, and so he changed the dog to my dogs, but obviously didn't tell me. And when I opened it, I was literally like, oh my God, it's so sweet. Like, it's one of my favourite things in the house.
I love that. And do you have, it's such a cliche thing to say, everybody, I'm sure you're asked it so many times, but do you have a dream role, or do you have a part that you'd love to play, or a show that you'd like to be involved in?
Yeah, there's loads, and we do get asked this a lot. Yeah. It used to be, when I was younger, it used to be Elphaba. That's what it always was. It's not that anymore. I don't know why. I think maybe just because I know so many Elphabas, and I know the stress that goes on, and I just think, I don't know if I'd want that life. I'd love to do. Well, I'd love to do more Sondheim. So I'm really lucky that I've actually played some of my dream roles. Like, I'm genuinely so lucky. So like in A Little Night Music, Charlotte Malcolm, I played that, and like that was one of my. So The Witch and Into the Woods is one.
Love it.
The Witch and Into the Woods. That's a really big one. I'd really like. What else? See, it's so funny because when you've been in the business a while, you start to stop saying that's my dream role, and you start to think like, okay, what could I play? Do you know what I mean? So like my head is now going to things that I could play, because it also stops you being like, well, I can play that. Because at 20, I thought, like, my mum used to tell me I could play anything. So I used to constantly ring my agent and be like, so they're auditioning for Cosette, why am I not in for that? Because you can't, you're not a soprano, Jamie. No, well, I can try. You know, why am I not in for Christine? Because I'll give it a good go. And then you get to, like, you grow up and think, okay, there's a reason that there are better people for that than me. I'd like to go back to Les Mis, and I'd love to play Fantine, or Madame T, actually play the part rather than cover it. Both, it's a great show that I hope to go back to one day.
Yeah.
I love, what else? Oh God, there's probably one that I'm not saying. But I think The Witch Into the Woods sticks out of me. I also really like Lucille in Parade.
Oh yeah.
Parade's one of my favourite shows. Yeah, and I really like Witches of Eastwick. So one of the witches, probably in that bit. No, do you know what my actual dream role is? And I have played it, but I would love to do it professionally. Is Nancy in Oliver. That's it. That's what I'd like to do properly, in a proper production. You know, like a Cameron Mackintosh production.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do.
That's the one.
For it, I would love to cover it. I would just love to have a go at it, like properly with it. You know, with the proper team.
Love it.
Horror films.
Oh my God.
100%. Always has been. Obsessed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really obsessed with them. Yeah, and just kind of what they are, like really terrible ones. I love them.
You just scared?
No, do you know what? I get a bit geeky about it. It's because, so I used to love slasher films when I was growing up, and I was never scared of them. But then I got into like reading about where slasher films came from and where the premise came from, and then I started to go into like the academia of it. And when I was at university, I did my dissertation on the Scream trilogy, and like genuinely, and I actually read it not long ago, and I was like, this is genius, well done. Like, and from then on, I'm just a bit of a geek. So like, actually, if I'm watching a horror film with Fred, my fiance, and he'll just watch it like any normal person would, and be like, well, that's rubbish, or that's stupid, that would never happen. And I get really like annoyed and offended, because I know that the, like, you know, the actual like nerdy reasons that it's like that, and I'd be like, well, actually in 1970 that was it. And I get really, really frustrated. Yeah, so sometimes we can't watch them because I get on my high horse a bit about them. like a proper geek But I love them. Yeah, I know, and I think that's why I love them as well, because people either go, oh my God, me too, or absolutely not. And I like anything that can split people that much.
I think the only thing, this is going to sound really, to someone who loves them, I mean, I don't even think it is classed as a horror film, but it scared the living out of me, was A Quiet Place.
Oh no, that is scary though. Yeah,
terrifying. But I love, for me, like, people will say to me about things, and I'm like, but I did genuinely, although I was terrified throughout the whole thing, I loved that film because I loved the backstory and the whole, like, loved the idea of it. I think it was quality.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Oh, amazing film. But yeah, that to me is as good as it gets. Like, I can't watch anything else. Like, I still feel like a small child. I I get nightmares about these things, like, coming into your, oh no,
it's all right. There's only 2 films that have ever made me leave the light on, which I won't tell you what they are in case they scare you, but that's it. Normally I'm all right. I'm normally all right.
Wow. No. It's a good chick flick. I'm rubbish. I like a good chick flick.
Don't get me wrong, me too. I mean, Bridesmaids is one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh, one of the best films. Yes, it is. That scene with her on the plane kills me every time.
Me too.
Every time.
Honestly, I just quote it like most days in my life, like literally. And my favourite thing is quoting it and then someone like clock you, and then you quote, and then you're like, okay, guys, we're going to be friends here because we all know that all the words to bridesmaids.
Yeah, literally. I love doing that. You'll do it, and then somebody else will be like, and you're like, yeah, lovely. And that's, I mean, like,
friends in theatre, I'm telling you. It's like, honestly, I think the first day of rehearsals, I'll just throw out a bridesmaid quote to see who I reel in. And then I'm like, you're my friend, get on my team.
And my last question for you is, don't know if you'll be able to answer it, but what is next for you after lockdown? Do you know what you're going to be up to? What the plan is?
Well, I mean, I did have things. So I was supposed to be doing the Stages cruise, which I was really excited about. There was a Sondheim show going on that. It's just a 4-day festival with Drew Baker. You know Drew? Of course you do. Yeah, of course. So I was doing that with Drew and Russell, and we try to think if anyone else from that night was doing it. No, I think it's just me. So I was supposed to be doing that in September, but unfortunately that's been pushed back to next year now. So I'll be doing that. And then everything else that was in the pipeline has either all been pulled or it's either been postponed till God knows when. I mean, even Panto, I probably would have done Panto, but I genuinely don't think Pantos will go on, which is terrifying, but I can't see it happening. But if they do go on, probably Panto, and then, but I think for most of us it'll be next year now. There are some things auditioning, but I think they're at the minute it's sort of tenterhooks. It's that sort of like send in the self-tape and we'll let you know when it's sort of due to go on. So I think, yeah, I don't know, which is quite a scary thought because I sort of always have an idea, but you know, I guess we're all in the same boat, which is the comforting thing about it, is that there's no, I'm not scared because everyone is the same, you know, and I think everyone is desperate to get back to work. So yeah, hopefully something as soon as this all ends.
I know, just keep your fingers crossed and try and keep as busy as you can at this time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all just doing the same thing, aren't we? I've actually started Buffy from the beginning, so that's my task at the minute.
Loved that when I was a kid.
So did I. Honestly, I'm reliving it and it's brilliant.
Oh.
I just thought, why not? It's been 15 years. Let's start it again. It's not like I'm going anywhere. So
yeah, definitely. I think, you know, I spoke to someone just now actually, and I said to her about it, and she was like, you know, you've just got to try and find something positive from it.
Yeah.
I know, not a positive time for anyone, and
the world will come out stronger. I genuinely do think it's been a horrible, scary time with everything going on, but I do think at the end of it all, everyone will be stronger and more united together. So I think eventually it will be a good thing. We've just got to get there. You know what I mean? We're in the eye of the storm at the minute, but I think in the end more good will come of it.
I think it just makes you more appreciative of things that, you know, not that you weren't appreciative before, but things that you just kind of went by the by, you know.
Absolutely.
Seeing people and just, you know, being able to catch up with your friends and your family and going out for a nice meal or, you know, anything really.
Yeah.
Just having that time to be with one another is just, I think that really, and making connections with people that you ordinarily wouldn't have. You know, I've spoken to like 50 odd people that I've never even heard of me, have no idea who I am, and you know, we've had a chat, and some people that you kind of stay in touch with, or you just, you know, it's just nice to meet new people even if you never speak.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about what it's like where you are, but in London you're sort of not friends with your neighbours, whereas we've become really close to our neighbours. They're great. Like my downstairs neighbour like leaves us little like gifts and things, and like she sent me up some Maltesers the other day, and some fruit, and yeah, it's really sweet. But it has made us realise that because we're in a flat in London with no outdoor space, and so this has made us, which has been, because you know, we were like, oh, it'll be 6 weeks, which will be hard. And at the beginning, you know, I was putting up on Instagram, this is so hard. I had no idea how long it was going to be. So we both sort of talked about it, and we were like, we need to, because I'm from the Lake District originally, so you know, all grass and fields and trees.
Yeah.
So I said, listen, we need, Wales, obviously beautiful. I was like, I think we need to move slightly out of London, because I need a garden and I need some trees.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to move out, and I don't think we would have done as soon had this not happened. So in the long run, I do like it'd be better definitely better for me, because I'll be like rolling around in the garden, thrilled.
Yes. I mean, absolutely. I mean, here we're so lucky. I mean, even the people like we have big fields and stuff behind our house. You know, we're very lucky with a lovely big garden and parks and stuff just down the road. But even people who do live like right in the town have a garden. You know. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, God, in London, I remember when I lived in London. Yeah, I lived in a flat and we had a courtyard that we shared with like all these other people.
Yeah, that's what it's like. I'm just sorry, I'm just getting my cough because I'm trying to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I don't want him to hurt himself. We got him. Yeah, we got him. That was the one thing. We got him during lockdown. So he's 12 weeks. He actually went on his first walk today. And that was an event. It was fun. It was funny to watch.
Oh my God, he is the cutest thing.
He's a villain, actually, aren't you? He's an absolute villain, but
cute always are.
Absolutely. He's exactly, runs riot around the house. But it's given us something to do.
Jamie, thank you so much for chatting with me. I loved it.
You're so welcome. It was really good fun.
Fab. It's something to fill an hour of your time.
Yeah, no, it's really, as you say, it's nice to talk to new people and like talk to somebody, and you think it's not just your circle that you just go around and, but you know, basically talk about the same things.
Yeah. You know, because you haven't done anything, have you? So,
no,
you know.
Literally, we're in this tiny little flat, and it's just about like, I just washed a dish or just had a packet of crisps. That's basically our chat.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it was great. Thank you so much, and I'll send you the link when it goes up.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
You're a star. Well, take care of yourself.
Of course. And you too. And let me know if there's anything else I can do, if you need me to do anything in the future. Absolutely.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Well, if you're in this neck of the woods at any point and you fancy coming and doing a workshop with the kids or something, they'd love that.
Where are you? Pembrokeshire?
Yeah, where basically where you came down to do that show, we're like 25 minutes away from there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for some reason I always seem to get jobs in Wales, so like honestly, like I feel like you just think I'm Welsh because they keep just giving me Welsh pantos, but I don't complain because I love Wales, so I'm like, that's fine. That's right with me.
We're like 2 hours away from civilization, which is Cardiff, but I mean, you know, it's not too far. We've had people come down from London do a workshop in a day. It's a trek, you know. It is a trek. But if you're in Cardiff somewhere or Swansea or anywhere really, I mean, North Wales is a bit further, obviously Aberystwyth and stuff, but yeah, if you fancy doing something different.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, definitely, we should talk about that when lockdown is. It'd be nice to come to Wales.
Yeah, and any excuse, I say to people, any excuse.
Any excuse, definitely.
Amazing. Well, take care of yourself.
All right, you too. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Huge thank you to Jamie. Great to chat to her. Lots more guests still to come. Take care, everyone. Hope the sun is shining. Bye.